The Roman Empire. 12 points. 1. The Roman Empire lasted from the 1st century BC to the 5th century AD. Its first emperor was Augustus, grandnephew of Julius Caesar, and the last one in the Western Empire was Romulus Augustus. The empire stretched from Britain in the northwest to Romania in the east and included North Africa. 2. Rome kept control for nearly 600 years through the strength of its army. Pax Romanum led to a peaceful Europe as long as people did as Rome told them. The Roman army of infantry, cavalry and archers was highly trained and disciplined and was feared throughout Europe. 3. The capital city of the empire was Rome. Today you can still see remains of the town centre, the Forum Romanum, where people went to meet, talk and do business. The remains of the amphitheatre, called the Colosseum, where gladiators fought as a form of entertainment, can also be seen, as can the Circus Maximus, where chariot races were held. 4. Much of what we know about how towns were designed and how the Romans lived comes from studying the excavated town of Pompeii, that was covered by dust and ash when the volcanic mountain Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. The town wasn't excavated until the middle of the 1700s. 5. The Romans were very good engineers and builders, as can be seen from the many viaducts and aqueducts that still survive. These carried roads and water long distances over valleys and hills to the important cities of the empire. They also built many roads to move their army from place to place and to allow trade. One of the most famous roads is the Via Appia, from Rome to Brindisi in the heel of Italy. They also built many public buildings and baths. Roman architecture. Roman architecture using pillars, arches and domes became the inspiration for the later architects of the Renaissance. For example, the Pantheon in Rome, that was built in the time of the Emperor Hadrian and designed around 120 AD, was the inspiration for the dome of the cathedral in Florence in the 1400s. 7. The rich in Rome lived in villas on the hills outside Rome, and the poor lived in timber-built blocks of flats called insulae in the city centre. The main streets were lined with the shops of the merchants and the workshops of the tradesmen. 8. The official clothing for well-off men was the toga. This was a large sheet-like garment worn wrapped around the shoulder and worn to the ankles. Women wore the stola. Because these were very heavy, they usually wore plain tunics to the knees. Clothes were made of wool in winter and linen in the summer. 9. During most of the time of the empire, the Romans were polytheist. That is, they believed in many gods. Jupiter was the father of the gods, Juno the main female goddess, Venus the god of love, and Mars the god of war. Dead family members were household gods called lares and watched over the family. Under the Emperor Constantine, the Edict of Milan in 313 ended the persecution of Christians, and it became the official religion towards the end of the 4th century. 10. The Western Roman Empire ended in the 5th century, when German tribes called Goths and Vandals invaded much of the empire and even Rome itself. Franks invaded Gaul, that's present-day France, and Angles and Saxons invaded Britain. 11. Part of the legacy of the Roman Empire includes the Romance languages of Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese and Romanian, the calendar, Roman numerals, and the inspiration for later architecture and engineering. And lastly, 12. After the fall of the Roman Empire, Western Europe entered the so-called Dark Ages, when local princes and chiefs fought for control.